Okay, let's call this meeting the Haysville Planning Commission to order. The first time in business, roll call.
Welch.
Here.
Meyer. Coleman.
Here.
Randall.
Here.
Asia.
Here.
Wellington.
Here.
Green.
Here.
I'm sorry, I forgot Chatwell. Paula. Burden.
Here. Next item is the approval of
Oh, I'm
minutes.
sorry, and Stock. I'm sorry, I totally
Sorry.
forgot Stock. I'm so sorry.
Now the next item is the approval of minutes of June 14th, 2018.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
I do want to make a note of one thing. Thanks to Ms. Coleman, I appreciate it. She noticed a typo in the minutes that I originally sent you, and it was the last line where I wrote in there 6:27 PM. The meeting actually ended at 7:27 PM. The version in front of you is the corrected version.
I make a motion we approve the corrected version.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion and second to approve the corrected version of the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? I abstain.
I'm abstaining. I wasn't here.
Under new business, we have plat case number 18-01. I'm not going to read that legal description. You want to present the plat, Rose?
There's a lot of research involved in this. Good evening, Planning Commission. Before you is a staff report that I put together. In this, this is a property that is north of the Valley Center floodway, west on Meridian Avenue, just north of the Valley Center floodway. It is not a piece of property within the city limits of Haysville. It is in our area of influence. This is a property that I am, as a floodplain manager, required to report that it is in the floodplain. At the time that the property owners had purchased this land, it was not in the floodplain. They had brought in fill to compensate for the low elevations, and since then, when the new maps were adopted, the fill stopped being brought in. And as I understand it, the property owners have currently applied for a LOMA, which is the right thing to do, since the fill was stopped before the new maps were adopted. So I needed to make sure you were made aware of that. A couple of reports that I received back, it took them forever for me to get responses on some of them. I talked with the City of Wichita, Sedgwick County, because this is in our area of influence. They have no objections to this plat in any way. Of course, the floodplain issue came up, which I just explained. In addition to that, I did talk with the Sedgwick County Fire Department. They have no issues there with the plat itself. They did make mention, and I will read this email. Everything looks fine. As we haven't seen any information on what the occupancy type will be, or if sprinklers would be required, or if water supply issues are adequate. If it requires a sprinkler system, a hydrant must be within 150 feet of the fire department connection on the building. I've gotten way ahead of myself. Okay, I won't get into that. So that's the primary thing that they're looking at, is a fire hydrant and sprinkler system way in which to address fires, potential fires. In regards to Kansas Gas, they have no objections. I have not received a call back from, and AT&T has no objections. I have not received a call back. If you notice on your plat that you received, there is a gas pipeline that is labeled. As a matter of fact, it is Missouri. Let me look at it real quick. I'm sorry. It is the Williams Natural Gas Company easement, as well as the Central Star pipeline. I had to double check and make sure that everything was okay. Missouri believes that they do not own that easement, but we do believe that they do. They thought it was Magellan that owned it, and Magellan confirmed they do not own the easement at all. And the Central Star Pipeline, I have not heard back from them, but this, where they're located, the pipeline's in the easement area as dedicated on the plat. And I'm ready for any questions.
So this has gone through our subdivision committee,
Correct.
which is Bob and I looking at it before all you guys do. So we made some updates to the original plat to define the openings and where they're at. Well, I don't remember what else we changed beyond just the access control. We had a lot of discussion about that. The drive on the south access is, what is that,
That's an existing access opening right now. It is shared by half of that is, about almost half of that is shared by with the Central Star pipeline.
what's that structure that's there, though, that they?
It's, what's that structure, the gas pipeline connection?
The
one of
thing,
those.
the thing?
Yeah.
So there's a thing that they need that drive for, so that bottom access is going to be shared so that they can access the thing. And then one drive in the middle, and I don't know that I remember how that lines up with 63rd on the other side of the street. Do you remember what that offset is?
I think it's fairly close.
Yeah, it's pretty close to it.
When we went to subdivision, we actually had 3,
Right,
and we're down to 2.
right. Now I'm trying to remember if we ever looked at whether that was, if there was a way to directly line it up so the offset isn't the wrong way.
Well, our discussion at the subdivision, there was a field entrance over there, and there wasn't a whole lot of concern about.
Yeah, the field entrance I'm not concerned about because that definitely can change, but it's not anywhere close to where 63rd wraps back around. That's all the way towards the south end of your property, right?
Yes,
Okay,
According to this.
yes.
That highly detailed map that, okay. So you should probably identify yourself for the record.
Kirk Miller, K. Miller Engineering, the agent.
One concern I have is, in addition to the fire, we don't have water and sewer close.
Right.
So is the intent to plat this, get a building permit, and build a structure and have alternative water and sewer in the
Yes.
next few years? So we need to discuss how we feel about alternative water and sewer and whether or not what the fire department is saying we needed a fire hydrant. I don't know if we can do a fire hydrant with
Right.
alternative water.
That has, the fire hydrant, that their discussion was, you had to have a fire hydrant within 150 feet of the fire department connection on the building. But our building is going to be small enough where we don't need to sprinkle the building. Low enough occupancy loads and small enough building where we don't sprinkle it, so we don't have to have that fire hydrant to cover it.
Okay, and that's Sedgwick County Code?
Yes. What we had at the subdivision was, we'd shown a larger building, which I think it was actually the maximum of what you could do to still not have fire coverage. I think we've reduced it about in half because there are budget issues and that type of thing.
Okay. So what's the attendance, what's the capacity of that building? Are we talking about 50 people?
No, it was more than that. It was 150 or something. I don't remember the exact number.
So my concern with alternative water and sewer is, this is sitting on a regular residential piece of ground, and you can put a church anywhere, but it's really functioning more like a commercial property with 150 people there. And that's a different size alternative water and sewer than you're talking about for the farmhouse across the street. So I have concerns with not allowing the plat, but to move forward with the intent of going to alternative water and sewer. In the comprehensive plan, we plan on annexing all of this and getting water and sewer up that stretch of Meridian, because that's where Haysville's going to grow.
Right.
We're just not there yet. So the question is whether we are okay with allowing this plat to go and move forward and then have alternative water and sewer temporarily until we can get water and sewer over there and allow them or force them to connect to that system when we're there. The question is, we don't know if we're going to bring it up Meridian and push under the big ditch, or if we're going to bring it over from Seneca and 63rd. Either way, it could be 2 years or 10 years before the lines actually get there. So part of the discussion we need to have tonight is what we would like to see moving forward, and whether we are okay with alternative water and sewer as a temporary measure, with the idea that it temporary may be 10 or 15 years. So any discussion, not that it's limited to that, but if you see something else.
I proposed use is church, and I think, did you just say potentially 150 occupancy?
Yeah.
So that's gonna require pretty good size alternative sewer system. I don't, is the acreage even available? Has that been studied yet, or?
The acreage?
Yeah, the acreage for the alternative sewer.
The alternative
system.
sewer will have to be outside of the floodplain also. So it'll be in that big triangular area that.
So you're thinking a septic tank, a lateral field, a lagoon?
It'll be an alternative sewer, I think, where it ejects it into the ground and that has,
So a lateral field.
well, but not like a septic, but yeah, lateral field,
Okay.
yeah. With the little tiny tubes that are perforated and,
So then we have the issue of it being right next to the big ditch and,
Input. Got Lake House down in Missouri. The Corps of Engineers control Table Rock Lake. They allow people to put those type injection systems within about 50 feet of the lake property.
oh, the lake
Of the
proper.
lake proper. I have heartburn with us telling them what they can do with their property. You know, as a city entity, I realize the city would like to grow that way. If the city wants to grow that way, they can buy the land. It's his land.
It's his
I think-
client's land, but yes.
Yeah, his client's land. But the health department of the county determines what the requirements are, and we should let him do what he wants to do with his land within those given amounts, whether it's injection or lagoon or whatever. Those guys got the education and
That's fair enough. I'm being overly cautious because I don't deal with lateral fields all the time, and I don't know what the requirements are for them. And I guess that's written into the code, and if the county and the city are going to allow you to do a lateral field, at least for as long as we're not able to pick up your water and sewer, then I guess that's maybe not on us.
and I don't think they would have any problem tying into them when you bring them there.
Yeah.
Because you get rid of all the maintenance and.
Yeah, well, it
With the
sounds like
water
maybe that's a
especially, you have fire
requirement
hydrants
anyway,
and- Yeah.
with, just by city code, that if we have the alternative, not the alternative to the alternative, we provide service that you will hook up to it.
Right,
If nothing else than just for fire, and
Right.
yeah.
obviously sanitary would be better also.
yeah.
You haven't looked at whether or not we can even get there without a pump station?
Get there from where?
That's a,
I mean,
that's a no.
That's our question.
I do have a question.
Okay?
That ground is high.
correct,
You're going to build a building,
yes.
then you're going to have parking for 150 people or whatever that number is.
Whatever the required parking is.
Whatever that number is.
And I don't know that 150 is the number, I don't
Yeah,
remember what the
right.
number was, but yeah,
Yeah.
there'll be parking for the required number of parking spaces.
The runoff, everything is downhill from that piece of property since they put the fill in. I'm confident the county has some kind of floodway reserve.
They're
or
required to have
holding line.
compensatory storage, and they have
Yeah.
addressed that.
That's what I
Right.
was wondering. You'll have room for your lateral field and for your storage and for your building.
Yes.
Okay, all that's,
The storage will be pretty minimal because most of it's out of the floodplain already.
yes.
Well, everything's going out of the floodplain, so you don't have to compensate for that, but there will be like an entrance drive that will be in the floodplain. That you would have to compensate for.
Oh, you just have to compensate for the item, the area that's in the floodplain?
You have to compensate for the area in the floodplain that you fill.
Okay.
The volume of fill there, then you have to reduce your volume of fill by the same amount or more. Or your volume, that's to provide that amount of volume again in the floodplain. You put 100 yards here, then you need to take 100 yards out of here. So you still have the same volume of storage. The compensatory storage is not because of the water that runs through it, but it's basically a backup from the big ditch. You have the big storm, the water in the big ditch can't get out. So they've determined this is the level that it goes to. If you start filling it in, the level raises. So they say you can't fill it in, you need to stay where you are. So you put 100 yards of fill in, you need to take 100 yards of fill out. Volume of storage around it.
Okay. My concern was you just placed the water where the building and the concrete is to the farm area next door, you know, or adjacent to it.
Well, actually, it was displaced years ago. It was
Yeah.
about 2011 is what it looks like is when they placed the fill.
But a certain amount soaks in. When you concrete it, very
Right.
little soaks in. So that was my,
Right,
that ditch, as you know, when it rains, fills full of water.
right. But the reason for the flooding in that area is the big ditch backing up, not water going to the big ditch. And that would usually happen a much later date than when you actually have the storm. So you have the storm, the water goes out, but then all the storm upstream comes down and it brings it back up. So your flooding will usually happen after you have your rain on a situation like this along the river or this drainage ditch.
Any more discussion? Nobody else has any more thoughts?
We must have done pretty good.
Feels like we kind of beat it to death, but yeah.
We need to find your access. I don't know that we beat it to death.
Well, I think Rose and I beat it to death through the county and everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just need a motion, or-
Yeah. If we're done.
that's what I was thinking. I don't know how to word it, I guess I'll make a motion that we approve the plat on case number PLA T18-01.
I second.
Have a motion and second to approve the plat. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you, Kurt.
Okay, thank you.
Looks like we have no old business, no correspondence and information reading.
No.
Any committee updates?
I have a committee update from Haysville Forward. Trick or treat on Main Street will be October 31st. The WSU Haysville campus ribbon cutting will be tomorrow, Friday at 4 o'clock. Gathering at the gazebo happened in the Historic District last Saturday night, and there was very good attendance. It was a beautiful evening. Monday night, council approved an architectural firm to produce plans for the chapel that will be in the Historic District, and that's it.
Any other committee updates? Any off agenda? We have a new member tonight?
No.
No?
No, I just.
Okay.
Yeah, we had an email problem,
Okay.
so.
Item 9.
I'd make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Motion and second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you, everybody. Sorry if I forgot about you. When was the last time you were here? Okay, I don't feel bad.
I think we got slept a little bit.
We had some issues where, like, one email wasn't working, and then the other one was, and then it was just weird.
Back and forth.
Okay.
Yeah, so, but we gotta
I'm
figure
on
it
the
out.
same page now.
Good to have you back.
Good to be back.
Good to have you back.
Thank you.
I guess let me know what the fire department